Hey, how about you, everybody? Welcome to the Auburn Live Recruiting Show. I'm your host, Jeffrey Lee, Senior Recruiting Editor for Auburn Live on 3. Today is Tuesday. Is it Tuesday?
Wednesday.
Oh, it's Wednesday for you guys. It's Wednesday, Valentine's Day for all you lonely mom's basement folks listening to the show. We feel you, big dog. We was all there at one time, but we are no longer. There's hope for you. I'm telling you, if us three can get some love,
there you go.
You can as well. All right, we are returning after not having a call-in show this past Sunday for the Super Bowl, and I can't remember who won. Chiefs won, I believe. Kansas City Chiefs didn't. Well, the 49ers didn't know the rules for the overtime.
Apparently. My God!
Wow, it was embarrassing,
wasn't it? Like,
golly,
to have that kind of a game. And to let it boil down to not necessarily. I mean, look, there were other things that happened. Obviously, the Christian McCaffrey fumble was a big deal.
Turnovers.
Yeah.
Jeffrey, your pet peeve is the free throws. I think mine is probably NFL overtime. I hate it. I love college overtime.
Me too.
I hate college overtime.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Really?
Like, I like the rule that they adapted for the Super Bowl. Give both people a possession. You know what I mean?
After a kickoff.
After a kickoff. I'm not a fan of starting it on the 25 and then just letting them go into the end zone. Like, to me, I want to see you drive the field to score.
So Kansas City had to either kick a field goal to tie or score a touchdown to win, right? So if it's 3rd and 20 or 4th and 23, they're still going for it.
Correct.
Okay. All right. That was the first I'd seen of overtime. Whatever. I guess it's different in the playoffs. But you know what? We're going to have a great show about Auburn recruiting today. We're going to answer a lot of questions from the corner. We're going to try to catch everybody up as we enter this dead period. The dead period is now to the end of the month. And it's going to be slow, but these coaches are taking a well-needed break. Auburn kicks off spring practice on February the 27th. We're expecting a lot of guys to come in for spring practices, a lot of recruits coming in for spring practices throughout. And then A-Day is April the 6th. Go ahead and schedule that. And let's hope it doesn't rain this year so we can have a better idea of what to expect from the season. But guess what? Mr. Cole Pinkston and Mr. Jhead is here to talk to me at all. I haven't even introduced you guys yet.
How about you?
They're stars. How about you, Cole? How about you, Jhead? All right, so we're going to call. I want Cole to hit the quarterback board. He did Tuesday on Auburn Live on 3, and then we're going to get into some questions. As it stands now, as I mentioned, the dead period is upon us. Auburn's 2025 class has 8 commitments, ranked number 9 in the country. A top 10 class right now with 8 commitments, and that is good for 4th in the SEC. So a great start for Hugh Freeze and staff. A lot of new faces on this staff. Which we all believe are upgrades, at least when it comes to recruiting. So it should be an eventful, exciting, anxiety-producing spring, summer. See how many commits Auburn has going into the fall. All right, before we get to the questions, before we get to the quarterback board, don't forget, if you live in or around Auburn, Opelika, Lee County, or if you want to move to Auburn, Opelika, Lee County, look no further for the help you need. Miss Jessica Andrews with the Talents Group. Give her a call, 334-704-4442. She is a 5-star realtor, son. Consensus. If you don't believe me, just ask me. Or one of her many clients.
Or just wear the T-shirt.
Oh, I forgot the damn T-shirt. I think she has it, man. She was proud of that thing. So was I. So anyways, give her a call. I promise you, you will not be disappointed, and you can ask anybody that's ever worked with her. As a matter of fact, I wish she wouldn't work so hard sometimes. But, hey, she's got to pay the bills because I certainly ain't. Give her a call. Jessica Andrews with the Talents Group, 334-704-4442. Tell her we sent you.
Hey, Jeffrey, when I learned she was the real deal, I was trying to get my friend, because he's looking to sell, trying to get him in touch with Jessica. Jessica sold that house to him already.
There you go.
Remember that?
Yes, I do remember that. She sure did.
He's already got it. Got it.
How's he doing, by the way, Cole?
He's doing good.
Okay. Had a little side-by-side accident.
Yeah.
Glad to hear he's doing better. Glad to hear he's doing better. It's pretty major, man. Y'all be careful on those things.
No doubt.
I say that to myself as well. Okay, Cole. Tuesday, you had kind of a overlook of the quarterback board, kind of a Talk us through it, man. What? Because that's everybody's wanting to know. It's February. Walker White was committed at this time last year. These guys are coming off the board earlier and earlier this year. I'm surprised to see that there's still some guys left.
Yeah.
What do you see? And I know Jhead has kind of plugged in here with this position as well. Cole, what do you see with the quarterback board right now?
Well, I did a who could be next commit about a week ago. I thought about just putting a quarterback, and I don't know who it's going to be yet.
Yeah, right.
A quarterback, because I don't think they're going to drag that out too much longer. But I actually did a ranking of the quarterback targets of at least all the ones that we know about. And I put that word in there, known, because there may be some others. You just never know, especially with the Philip Montgomery changing and having Derek Nick step in and Ken Austin moving to quarterback coach. So, Jhead, I want to know your ranking of these guys too. My number one it was Julian Lewis. I just think he's the best of the bunch. He's got pretty much everything. My number two was KJ Lacey, who we think Auburn might be sort of moving out of the picture there with him, but he's in there. I mean, he deserves a mention. He's part of the board. Number three for me was TJ Lateef, who we've talked about a good bit, from Orange, California. Number four is a name that we've floated around a little bit. Still trying to learn more about him and what he might be. But Husan Longstreet, another one from California. You got number five, Antoine Hill. I think everybody's pretty familiar with him at this point. He camped at Auburn last year. Brother was Trey Hill, by the way.
Oh, was it really?
You remember Trey Hill that visited Auburn several
offensive
times?
Lineman. Yeah.
Went to Georgia.
Yeah.
Honestly, when we talk about guys that visit all the time and then don't sign with Auburn, which it happened a lot in recent years, I think of Trey Hill almost immediately. Huh. That guy visited a ton at Auburn.
Sure was. Warner Robins. Now, was Antoine, was he the one that was committed to Colorado at one point?
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah, he's not anymore. He's open. I know Auburn's, I don't know if he's up there for them, and he's number 5 on my board. I think he's good. Got a really probably the strongest arm of that room. Of that board of all the quarterbacks I'm naming here, but don't know where Auburn stands on him exactly. And then number 6, Cutter Woods, who's the new one from Taylor's, South Carolina. So, Jhead, I'm curious, how would you rank that 6?
Honestly, and this is going to be bad podcasting, but I agree with your board, except for when you get to number 5. I like Cutter Woods better than I do Antoine Hill.
He's a big boy.
When I watch the tape, I see his accuracy, his improvisational skills. I see a guy that fits in that RPO offense. He gets the ball out extremely quick, very quick release. So I can see the attractive parts to the game. And then they've seen him throw in person. And we know how much Hugh Freeze values that. He talked about how he's not going to recruit a quarterback when he first got here that he hasn't seen throw. So the fact that they've had him in camp in Liberty kind of gives him a little bit of a leg up maybe on some of these other quarterbacks that they're looking at. I really like TJ Lateef as far as what I've seen from a project standpoint.
I do too.
I think he has as good a raw skill set as anybody on the board. The question is, I think he just started playing quarterback maybe 2 years or so ago. He doesn't have a lot of tape at this point. His stats weren't great, but when you watch him actually throw the football and the arm talent associated with what he can do, I think his skill set matches up well with what they want to do in the offense. And he's got some dual threat ability to him so that you can utilize him in the zone read game, the RPO game. I like his skill set. Again, I don't have any issue with your board. I only have one variation, and that was at the bottom of 5 versus 6. But overall, I think you got it pegged, and Juju Lewis is the number 1 quarterback on the board. I don't think there's any question on that. The question to me is, can Auburn legitimately be a threat for him? And I see his recruitment as one that's going to go down to the wire. Like, I don't think Juju is going to make a decision anytime soon. I think he's a kid that if you've got resources, and by resources, I mean NIL resources, you're going to be involved with him. To what degree, though, I don't know. I think UGA is going to be tough to beat there.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's committed presently to USC. We'll see how that holds up. Mm-hmm. There will be other schools that will be involved with Juju Lewis. I'm not going to be shocked if Alabama gets involved, because what happens, on their quarterback board, they've got a brand new head coach, brand new OC as of like today. So who do they put at the top, and where does KJ Lacey come in there? It's going to be interesting. But Jeffrey's right. And I want to hear your thoughts on this, Jeffrey, because It's kind of a reverse course for Auburn right now to be evaluating quarterback prospects and not necessarily have somebody they're zeroed in on right now. Like, is that more of like just the unassuredness in this quarterback class? Is it because we've changed OCs? Like, what is your thought process on where we're at?
That's exactly what I was thinking. And Cutter Woods is the one who kind of really stood out to me after talking to him. Like, Ole Miss was on him. This is Derek Nix. This is Ken Austin coming in and going, hey, I know Philip Montgomery loved Ryan Montgomery, and Ryan Montgomery would have visited Auburn in mid-January, and Philip Montgomery called him a week before he got fired and was like, hey, you probably don't need to come. And now the kids choose him. And hey, listen, there was legitimate interest from him in Auburn. He was coming to Florida. He was going to visit Auburn. He was going to visit Georgia and South Carolina. He didn't visit Auburn. He didn't visit Georgia. And now he's choosing between Florida and South Carolina. So that was a Derek Nix, Ken Austin going, you know what? Philip Montgomery loved him. We're not so high on him. We like these kids. Derek Nix recruited Cutter Woods at Ole Miss. Ken Austin recruited Cutter Woods at Liberty. Both of these guys now together. So that kind of gave me like a little bit of oversight or insight into kind of how this is all kind of piling. Now, Juju's a national guy. Everybody loves this kid. Everybody's after him. But after that, you're looking at the Antoine Hills trying to get the TJ Lateef. And listen, his interview with Cole a couple of weeks ago sounded promising, at least for a California kid to have that much interest in a place he's never visited before.
The quote that stood out to me was, it feels like Hugh Freeze has something up his sleeve. That's what he said to me. That was like the first thing he said when I asked him, what is it that has you interested in Auburn? That's what he said. He liked the receiver class. He was like, man, I could, if he keeps bringing that in, what quarterback wouldn't want to go play for that?
And then you got these wide that, these quarterbacks are going, man, for at least 2 years that I'm there. And they're just going to keep loading up at wide receiver. Let's be honest here. I think the one thing that's working against Auburn and Hugh Freeze that he didn't have working against him at Ole Miss, and of course at Liberty really wasn't an issue because he could get his pick of the rejects like Auburn's, what was the guy's name?
Oh, Malik Willis.
But now in this class, he's got kind of a crappy year of quarterback play. And I know it's easy to sell that in his past, but you got to think that people are going, maybe that hurts him. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. But I would be surprised. I'm thinking timeline on this. That's kind of where I am right now.
Sure.
You got to get these kids in the spring for visits. You've got to get them on campus. You've got to get them here as soon as possible. I just don't think they take this into June camps. I mean, man, that was such an antiquated way of evaluating quarterbacks, at least for rising seniors, right? You've got to have guys locked in. You've got to get this done this spring.
Yeah.
Ideally.
I mean, they get a guy, and then the guy who's committed comes and, leads the camp like Walker White did last year.
Right. That's exactly right. So I'm excited as a recruiting reporter to see what running backs come in, what quarterbacks come in. Those small groups of kids that you recruit that you're only going to take 1 or 2 a year max. Like, who's really up there? Who's there? Is it the Deal kid? Is it Alvin Henderson? Is it both of them? Is there another guy at running back that could slide up there? The quarterback position, do they want to, go out and see him throw? Do they want to, to me, the actions in the spring are going to speak a lot louder than words on X or, tweeting offers and stuff.
I would agree with that wholeheartedly. Who they go visit to watch, because I do think that's going to be part of it. I don't think they're going to wait till camp season.
Yeah.
I do think that spring eval season is going to kind of drive where they go with this and how they've already talked about going out to see TJ Lateef in California. I think Derek Nix and Ken Austin are going to head out there. Maybe Ben Agamai will be there with him. I think he's the area recruiter for California for most of that state.
Sure is.
So how does that evaluation go? Do they go and visit Cutter Woods in South Carolina? Do they go see, I know we've kind of tossed around, we're not going to put it out there right now, but there's some other prospects you and I are paying attention to that, how does the evaluation go for them? And then they decide, okay, let's jump in here with an offer. But you're right. Quarterback spots are the first ones to go. That's who you build your class around. And unless there's a national guy they just don't like, you know what I mean? Like they can't get Juju, and you just don't love the Hill kid from Georgia. You don't love what you see from Latif. Okay, maybe you wait for one of these guys to come into camp. Maybe you say, you know what, I'm going to try and take a project quarterback that I see in camp because I just don't love what's on the national circuit this year.
Completely agree. And if you believe so much in Walker White, which I think these guys do, this is a year, and I'm not making excuses beforehand, but I'm saying the reality is if you love Walker White, this might be a year you could take a developmental guy.
I agree. I was thinking the same thing, Jeffrey. Like I think you're going to take a high school quarterback every year, right? Like
right.
Done are the days of you like, nah, man, I'm not going to take a QB at all. Period. You stack them, and then if they don't work out, you process them into the portal. That's just how it goes.
Yeah, I wanted to say too about these quarterbacks. I think the two probably to watch right now are, like y'all said, Latif and Woods. I think Cutter Woods and TJ Latif are the two that probably you need to keep the closest eye on. And with these 6 guys, to me, there's 3 categories. I think you got the pro style guys, which are Latif and Antoine Hill. And then you've got maybe kind of a balanced where they're a little bit pro, a little bit can run too. I think Julian Lewis checks every box. And then you got Husan Longstreet is sort of in that category. And then you have Lacey and Woods, who I think are the gamers, the guys that can kind of innovate, do some different things. So I'm curious as to what kind of guy they really go after for this. I want to see that.
Would be intrigued. And listen, let me back up. When I say developmental guy, I mean like a Henry Brown. So
correct.
This isn't no crumbs that you're picking up. I'm talking about a Henry Brown type guy.
Yeah.
Not nationally recruited, a 3-star kid that had, a couple of offers here and there, but Hugh Freeze loves him. And judging just off of Henry Brown and Walker White, you got to think Hugh Freeze has got a pretty decent eye for quarterbacks.
I'd say.
I would agree with that. I think Ken Austin's got a great eye for quarterback.
There you go.
And that's who's making this evaluation.
That's right.
I think Hugh's siding with what Kent sees when he goes out there and says, hey, this kid can get it done or this kid can't.
Right.
All right. I love talking about quarterbacks, man. And it's only going to get better, and it's going to get more in depth. It's going to get more knowledgeable as the spring goes on. Like we said earlier in this conversation, let's see who visits. Let's see who will they go visit. Let's see if any more offers come about. So a lot to keep an eye on at that position. It's a highly interesting position for especially our members and certainly for us as well. All right, it might be a dead week, but it's never dead on Auburn Live on 3. Jhead put out a post Tuesday evening for some questions from the corner. Let's get to the topics these folks want to know about. And leading us off is Mr. Fruby Sips. Oh, this is a good one. What edge targets is Auburn in on? Yeah, what edge targets is Auburn in on? Sorry about that, Fruby Sips. You were right. I thought it would have been R since targets are plural.
They are.
What edge targets are Auburn in on? Huh, he's right. That doesn't sound right.
I think he's right.
I do too. Right. I don't know why. Oh, edge is singular.
There you go.
What edge targets is Auburn in on or trending for 2025 class? And what possible 2024 transfer portal additions are still out there at edge? I don't think anybody is in the portal right now worth mentioning. At edge is the Jaden Smith kid that was signed with Michigan. He's on an edge, is he?
So I think he could be. He's kind of a project guy, somebody that's right now he's 6'2", 6'3", 195, but you get him at a training table, he's 230, by the end of his redshirt freshman year. And then where do you project him at? He's got good balance and body control, good initial first step off the edge, good twitch. So I think he could play. I think he could play box linebacker. I think he could play out on the edge. It just really depends on the way his body goes. But the interesting part of him is that he gives you some versatility with a guy like Joe Phillips, who also kind of falls into that profile, right? He could play inside, and I think he did play inside for bowl practices. Where does the new defensive coaching staff project him to be? Where does DJ Durkin want him at? Does he think he's better at that buck outside linebacker?
There you go.
Or is he more of an inside guy? So it's going to be interesting to see how DJ Durkin sees it. And then, who else do they recruit? In the 25 class, I think Cole pointed out somebody. I really like this kid. I mean, Christian Grass, Cole, get in it, like talk about.
Oh yeah.
Him. But from a 25 target, I think he's a really good target.
He definitely needs a mention. That's Christian Gass. He's from I can't remember.
Covington, Georgia.
Covington, East Side High School, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, I talked to him on the phone probably for 10 minutes. He had a lot to say about Auburn, and I think Auburn's going to be up there with him. He said he didn't give me a top 3 officially, but he said Kentucky, Georgia, and Auburn. Those were the 3 that were sort of standing out for him right now. He did visit Auburn a couple weeks ago. He said that Josh Aldridge came by his school and was like, "Hey, you're coming to Auburn this weekend." It wasn't a question. It was more like, "Hey, we'll see you there." And he loved it. His parents loved it. You know, it all went really well, it sounds like. And he loved DJ Durkin. Gave us some intel on DJ Durkin, actually.
That was really good stuff.
The intel, you know, he told us, look, I'm not really just an outside linebacker or an edge. Sort of a big safety. That's a 3-level player. It's what I call it. So they can drop back to safety level and cover, or walk up to linebacker territory, or come all the way down the edge. There's not a lot of guys out there like that in Auburn. DJ Durkin specifically thinks Christian Gass is a guy that is exactly perfect for that role. So I think he's one you need to pay attention to. And then Zion Grady is the other edge, of course. And then 2024 for transfer portal. I just don't know. In my opinion, they need another edge, because if Jalen McLeod goes down again like he did this season, you are in a real – I mean, I just think you're in a bind.
No, I agree. I mean, obviously, they're going to take the spring to see kind of how quickly do they think the high school kids can help them. But I'm with you, Cole. That doesn't – I mean, unless one of those kids is just significantly better than I think they're going to be in their freshman year, I wouldn't feel comfortable as the defensive coordinator rolling in with that being my only option.
Right.
You know, it worked for Miami for this past year. Obviously, Ruben Bain had a phenomenal year for them as a freshman off the edge. Yeah. But Ruben Bain is he's a different kind of dude, right? And I don't know, without seeing these kids in action, if you could project them the same way and think, okay, I can be comfortable rolling with that. But that's what the spring's for. They'll get a good look at that, and they'll know how to move forward. But as far as the edge board goes, that'll develop in the spring portal window. Like, I haven't seen Auburn targeting anybody that's presently in the portal at edge. There's a couple of guys from Arizona that jumped in after Jhead Fish left and went to Washington that I've been kind of monitoring to see if Auburn would make a move, and it just doesn't seem like they're in a rush to jump on anybody right now. They're going to wait and see how this spring portal flushes out.
I agree.
Speaking of quarterbacks, Eli Double-Ott wants to know, this is a good question. I think, Cole, you hit it really quick there at the end. Realistically, Cole, Auburn's realistic shot of those 6 guys that you mentioned, known guys that we mentioned, Eli doesn't think KJ Lacey or Juju Lewis ends up at Auburn. I wouldn't argue with him.
I don't either.
So realistically, Cole, give me. I think you said Lateef,
and Cutter Woods.
But
Antoine Hill's in there too. I just don't know how much they like him. I'm not sure yet.
Dependent on where Auburn has him.
Typically, if you're going to offer someone like Cutter Woods this late, you like him. You're not messing around.
Right.
So I think he's in there. And then TJ Lateef, just from talking to him, it really seemed like they're telling him that we like you. We can't wait to see you throw. And if that all goes well, watch out. And look, if they push for him, I think he's coming. I think he's in. That's the impression I got from talking to him, really.
Good stuff from Eli Double-Ott there. Let's see here. War Dad Eagle 2 wants to know, over under of signing 1.5 5-stars in 2025 class, who's taking the over? Do you think Auburn signs 2 5-stars? Ooh.
I'm going to go under.
It's so difficult, man. Even in this 2024 class, Auburn only ended up with 1.
I'm going to go.
Industry ranking, consensus. I think the 24/7 composite have Auburn with more than 1.
I think they did. I think they had him with 2, but Auburn, because I think Amaris Williams on their site was a 5-star.
Oh, composite?
I think.
Either way, yeah.
Yeah, but I think they ended up with 2. I'm going to go with 1, but I do think the blue chip ratio in this class is going to be better. Like, I think it's going to be a who's who of 4 stars, but I just don't see that 5-star right now that makes me think you're going to get multiple. I think you're going to get 1. but I don't know that you're going to get 2.
I'm looking at the top, let's just say 30. Naeem Alford is in there. Juju Lewis is in there. Zayden Walker is in there. Caleb Cunningham is in there. Right now, I wouldn't predict any of those guys. Josh Petty is in there. Just some of the familiar names that I'm looking through that's kind of jumping out. That's really – this is so early, guys. Remember that. So you never know where these guys are going to end up. But
yeah, because Cam Coleman was not a 5-star this time last year.
No, he was a 3-star.
Right.
Yeah.
He's a 3-star. So the easy play here is under.
Definitely easy play is under right now, but we'll see. You know what I mean?
I think I would go over, honestly.
Okay.
The reason for that is there's 2 reasons. Number one, usually we're wrong this time of year on those questions.
Fair enough.
It goes so haywire from what you think it's going to do every year. It does. Like you think one thing right now, it's going to be totally different.
Well, to be fair to us, of the guys right now who are in line to get a 5-star, of those 30 guys that I just looked through and named
under,
I don't see Auburn. Yeah, right. Ask us again at the end of August, that number will change. Ask us again at the end of October, that number might have changed. But as of right now, according to all 3 rankings, the under is the easy play. How about that?
I think my other reason for saying it is that rankings have gotten there's so much more change in rankings now, in my opinion.
Yes. A lot of turnover.
It's up and down, a lot of turnover, a lot of changes in those 5-stars. Because I think the reason is because they want to get the 5-stars right because it reflects well when they get drafted in the first round. They want to make sure it's right. So that's the way I'm looking at it. I think Auburn might have 1 or 2 in there.
I hear you. And these days, there's a lot more to evaluate. There are a lot more camps, a lot more combines, a lot more eyes on the prize, if you will. And so a lot of different opinions coming in at all times. So, ask us again. Right now, we'll say 1 or under. Let's see here. Limer DB. If Auburn had its pick of the litter at offensive line, we all love some offensive line, especially in this class. Which do they take and why? Do we circle back to Braden Jacobs being a legacy? Braden Jacobs, excuse me. Braden Jacobs committed to Clemson. I sound like Elijah Pritchett. Yay!
Bro, that was perfect.
Did he commit to Clemson?
He did.
Okay.
Matt Luke jumped on him hard. And I'm going to be honest. I think of the 3 of us on this platform, I think I talked about him more than you guys. And that's probably because your intel didn't reflect that he was all that high on Auburn's board. Like, I think he was a name.
Yeah.
But not somebody they were just absolutely in love with. And so I don't know that we double back there. I think the tackle board, and I'm going to put out kind of 5 names to know as far as each offensive and defensive position. He would not be in my 5 names on the offensive tackle board right now.
Josh Petty would be.
Yes.
Micah DeBose would be.
Yes. Juan Gaston would be.
Travaris Dice
would be.
Honestly, that's the 4. If you're saying there's 4, it's Juan Gaston, Josh Petty, Travaris Dice, and who was the other one we just said?
Micah DeBose.
Yeah, Micah DeBose. And you might even throw Dontrell Glover in there. I know they're really high on him too, but those are guys that are way up there on the board.
Would you say Carday Smith?
No.
Okay.
And maybe eventually. Not right now, I don't think.
Another name we saw, Chad Simmons had a story out earlier this week. Mario Nash has Auburn in his top group. He's from Mississippi.
I think
I don't know where. I was going to say I don't know where he stands for Auburn on Auburn's board, but I hear you. Those 4 guys. And of course, you've already got commitment from Spencer Dowland. So those 4 guys probably be the main ones. And again, some of the maybe tier B guys, tier 2 guys would be Mal Waldrop.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And Mal could move into a tier 1 contender.
Absolutely. And listen, I don't know that he's not.
Right. I mean, accurate. You know what I mean? Let me give you a guy that I'm tracking on that I think is a tier 1 that we haven't discussed here. And he's a kid from Kansas, but has some ties to Auburn.
Yes.
Andrew Babalola. Is that how you say his last name?
That's exactly how you pronounce it.
Yes.
I figured it was.
Jhead, I've been trying to get him on the phone for 2 weeks now.
Okay.
So I know who he is. I've heard a little bit about him, but I wanted to check in with him. I haven't been able to get up with him. So he is somebody, though. That's a good call on that.
He's Stretch's cousin.
Maybe. You know what I mean? Baba Tunde.
I think there is some traction there with Auburn. I don't know all the details yet. That's why I haven't brought his name up, because I want to try to fill it out a little bit, see if he's going to maybe visit in the spring or something.
Sure.
I think it's possible, though. I do think it's possible he visits in the spring.
Okay. Man.
You know, this O-line cycle is going to be totally different, because we said 100 times last cycle. Just maybe not as much at the top in the Southeast region as you'd hope or as Auburn would hope. I think it's different this year. I think it's a lot better. The class is pretty full.
Significantly better and much deeper, and Auburn's in a much better position with the top end guys than they were this time last year. Like I feel like Jake Thornton was kind of transitioning offensive line boards, trying to juggle it with what they brought in with the transfer portal, what they felt like they needed within the offense as far as what was a fit. And so now you're a cycle in, you know what you need, who you've already built relationships with. And I think the need is deeper in this for a high school offensive lineman. Like I think you truly need 5, maybe 6 high school offensive linemen in this class with what you're going to lose to graduation and potentially to the portal.
And the tier 1 was all over the map last year with Preston Talmua from Hawaii or wherever he was from, DeAndre Carter from California, Daniel Calhoun. Daniel Calhoun was a guy that was probably tier 1 for them. His tier 1 is all right here. Josh Petty and Juan Gassner are both from Georgia.
Wasn't Casey Poe from the Midwest?
Texas.
There you go. Let's see. All right, Decone 24. Man, listen, how I know these computers and smart devices listen. We talked about David Cone last week.
Yeah.
Dude, he was like pulled up. It's like an ad for David Cone. I don't know what it was, but I was like, man, somebody's listening. I'm telling you, dude, I haven't heard the name David Cone in 30 years. And we talk about him, and I turned my phone on like the next night. It's like David Cone, record, or whatever it was. I think he was fighting. He beamed somebody when they were fighting. He was a tough son of a bitch, man.
Yeah, he was.
Let's see. Decone 24. What is the probability of us landing 1, 2, and/or 3 of the 5 stars we are in the hunt for in the 2025 class in basketball? Oh, wow. That's a great question, man. And listen, Jasper Johnson is the number 12, so I'm gonna throw him. He's coming in for an official visit this weekend, and I'm going to throw him in as a 5-star. Although I think they haven't ranked 5 stars past 8 or 9 because I think AJ Dibansta. No, I'm sorry. Bryson Tiller is the number 9 overall recruit, and he's still a 4-star. So I would think anywhere from the top, if you're in the top 20 right now on 3 industry ranking, you're a future 5-star, if nothing else. It's so tough with basketball, man. It's so tough with basketball. Jhead. Okay, Dibansta's coming in March. He's the number 1 overall recruit in the country. Consensus, I believe, number 1. He's coming in. Caleb Wilson visited last week. He's the number 4 player. He's a 5-star. Malik Thomas visited a couple of weeks ago. He's a 5-star, number 6. So 3 of the top 6 players have or will visit Auburn in the past month or the next 6 weeks. Wow, it's 3 of the top 6. Throw in Bryson Tiller. That's 4 of the top 9. And then Jasper Johnson makes it 5 of the top 12 basketball players in the country have or will visit Auburn this season. That's wild. So it's tough. What was the question again? The probability. Listen, football is almost. Listen, basketball's always been hard to predict because you've got apparel deals and AAU and handlers and this and that. There was so different. Whereas football was kind of like, unless you were getting a bag late, you kind of had a pretty good idea.
Who are the guys projected to leave from this current basketball team? Or how many are you losing potentially?
So for sure, you're losing Jalen Williams. He's gone.
Yeah.
This is his COVID season. My assumption My assumption
Not even
is,
when I was doing a thumbs up when I was counting, though.
oh, there you go. My
What?
assumption is Jhead Broome
Jani's got to go.
Yeah, that he's going to turn pro after this year. As unfortunate as that would be for Auburn, but that's two. KD Johnson has another year. Is he going to really come back for a COVID season?
God, I don't know. Like he's been here forever, and he's transferred from Georgia.
Correct, but he came in 2020. So him and Sharif, same class.
Wow. Crazy.
Sharif's like retiring from overseas right now. KD.
You would think, right? But KD's got another season. Denver's got another season.
So really 2 right now.
Chad Baker's got another season. So yeah, realistically, Dylan's got Dylan is another kid that came in 2020. Wow. He's got a COVID year that he could opt into. So it's anywhere from 2 to 4, in my opinion, is what you're looking at, because it depends on what KD and what Dylan do. And then don't forget, Bruce didn't fill all of his scholarships this past year, because you've also got.
And I don't know that he ever will. I feel like he said either on the record or off that he might always have that 13th available.
I think so. I think he uses it to reward a walk-on, to be completely honest, because it's so hard to fill out.
He did. Didn't he give someone?
Yeah, he gave Lior went on last year, didn't he?
Leopard? Was it Chandler Leopard?
Yes, it was. That's exactly who it was.
So, well, then Lior Berman's coming off, so that's another one. So it's
there you go.
So probably 3 to 5 is what you're looking at.
That's right. He's using the 13th as a 1 year.
Yeah.
That's right. You walk on, you get to be a senior, and you've put in the work. You're going to get a scholarship for a year. That's right. So that's 3.
Right. He's got 3 spots coming open. And then what does Chris Moore do? Chris Moore's another 2020 kid that potentially. So make 3 to 6.
That's a big class, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a massive class.
They could have a few departures there, more than we maybe thought.
And you got to expect 1 or 2 is going to. Chris Moore's going to want to go to Arkansas State and be a starter and play. I don't know this. I'm just saying somebody like that. Dylan maybe wants to go and get some big minutes, and but at least 3. Well, because I think Jani's gone. I think it would be in his best interest to leave after this year.
Agreed. And realistically, if Jhead did come back, Dylan's gone at that point. So it's 3 either which way it goes, in my honest opinion.
Okay. Jalen's gone. Jani's probably gone. The walk-on's gone. So that's 3. Attrition. Somebody leaves. That's 4. And you got to think Bruce is not going to fill those with high school kids. He's going to he's going to get as many of these studs as he can. But what are you thinking? 1 of these 5 guys I just mentioned?
And of those 5, all of those are 2025 guys. None of them are 20.
They won't even be here. That's right.
None of them are 24. So everything
Jhead is the only one.
Yeah, Jhead is the only.
No.
And
Jakai.
So you got 2 spots filled out of that.
That's right. So that now you're down to. So you've got 2 of the what we expect to be 3 to 4 spots open. So you've got 1 to 2. I'm on the wrong team. Am I right?
No, you're right. Yeah.
Am I?
Yeah, because Jakai Howard's coming in.
You got 2 coming in and 3 going out.
For sure. 3 going out for sure. Look at the balloons, man.
Happy birthday, Jessica.
I know. So you probably got, I would think, anywhere between 1 to 3 more that are going to be going out. So those will all be portal players.
D-Cone, I wish the thing is that these guys are so nationally touted. And I mean, Kentucky, everybody's after these cats, dude. It's man, I think getting one of those guys would be remarkable achievement, and it can be done because he's done it a lot. Bruce Pearl has done it a lot. Jhead Pettiford's a stud.
Landed a 5-star the last 2 classes in a row. Okay,
and overtime elite. We're over here in Atlanta, stacked.
Yeah, and Auburn's building a nice connection there.
Yes.
I mean, from my intel, I think they've laid some really good groundwork with overtime elite in Atlanta.
I get Bryson Tiller and Caleb Wilson mixed up, but one of them was here for the Bama game. Was it Bryson?
I think that was Tiller, right? I think
it was Bryson Tiller, and then Caleb was here for that, and then there's no telling who's going to be here for the Kentucky game unofficially. We know Jasper Johnson's coming for an official visit. But there'll be others there. I'll have a Hope Scoops later this week, try to figure out who all is going to be there. But this 2025 class is going to get interesting if Auburn can stay in the hunt for 5 of those top 12 guys. So Let's see. FMD. Good stuff there, Deacon. Appreciate you, big dog. FMD. Who are we looking at for center, punter, and guard? Oh.
Okay. So center. I mean, I think that's going to be it. Just let's combine center and guard, Cole.
Did we talk about Mal Waldrop possibly playing center?
Yep, we did.
Yep.
And I think that's in Mal's game.
And did anybody from the 24 class?
Nobody from the 24. Now the 23, you took 2 centers because I do believe Braden Joyner's a center. Like I think that's where he's going to slot in this year.
And
and Connor Liu. And so Connor didn't redshirt, and then you obviously had Braden that did. So you got a year in between those 2 guys, but you're probably looking for a center in this class.
Yeah, your 2024 center was probably going to be Cohen Eccles if they got him.
Right.
There you go.
So there's a spot. Right now, I don't know. It's kind of the days of like, hey, you're just a center. That's over, I think. You have to be both. You got to say, hey, I'm a center and a guard. It helps your stock as a recruit, honestly. You can't just say I'm a center. So we're looking at interior offensive linemen here. Dontrell Glover, Mal Waldrop, some of these guys.
Did Tanner Shaw leave? Did he take a coaching position somewhere?
Tanner Burns.
Tanner Shaw is
I think he's still there.
South Carolina quarterback.
Yeah. Tanner Burns still here. Yeah.
Connor Shaw. Okay, good. So Tanner is he still in over the special teams?
He is.
So you just signed, I think you just signed, even if it was a preferred walk-on, 2 deep snappers, then Towns Magoo, and was there another kicker?
Yeah, Gabe Russo.
Russo. And I know I don't think either one of those are exclusive to field goals.
Right.
Well, no, the kid from Auburn High School is exclusive to being a kicker.
Okay.
I don't think he's a combo guy. I think he's just a kicker.
Gabe Russo can punt. I know Alex McPherson can. I've watched him do it. I watched him at the Under Armour game last year, but I don't know if that's what they want to do with him. Being the main guy, how much longer is he going to be there, depending on how good he is, which has a good career going on right now. So, yeah, punter's interesting. That's the one that usually pops up, and you're
Cole,
like, wow.
I tell you one interior prospect that we left off that we need to talk about, Ty Buster from North Carolina. I think that's one for sure. There's another kid out of Georgia I'm tracking. I'm losing his name right now, but there are a couple of really good interior prospects. I think Ty's going to be a 4-star player before it's all said and done. Like I really liked what I saw.
Ty's good.
From his junior highlight cut-ups. I think he's a really solid prospect on the interior.
Keaton Jones is another one from Kansas too that I talked to. Not sure. I'm not entirely sure what he is yet, but he's one to probably track.
Okay.
I was looking through the interior offensive line offers. I think y'all have named most of the guys I would have that at least look familiar to me. So that's.
And then our current commitment is an offensive line. I think he's a guard. I mean, I'd
agree.
Cortez Smith.
Yeah.
Interior guy. Dontrell Glover's listed as an interior guy. Let's see. That's it. All right, let's see. WDE John 10, not to be confused with WDE John 9. How many total players do you expect us to take this year? And are the majority expected to be offense or defense? I think we said 20 to 24.
20 to 25, I think, somewhere in that range. I think you're losing estimatedly around 23 to 24 players in this class. So contingent on where the numbers are, what your attrition's looking like after the season, like who's turning pro early, who may be not developing and at the rate that the coaching staff wants them to, and they're interested in going into the portal. Maybe somebody that gets, let's be honest here, tamper season's a real thing. Maybe somebody gets tampered into the portal. I think you have to account for that at this point.
Definitely.
And realistically, that's part of roster management these days, is recruiting the guys on your own team and retaining them with NIL. Like that is a huge part of knowing who you need to retain and who you can let go, because that's just part of it. I mean, it's just the way it works.
So I think it's going to be rather balanced when it comes to offense and defense. Like Defensive line is obviously going to be a big class. We expect the offensive line to match that. Maybe not as many wide receivers, but they've already got 2 tight ends. We'll likely add a third.
Yeah, I mean,
A couple of running backs, a quarterback.
I think gone are the days of just like you've got to stack every position. Like you take one at each, and then you let the numbers sort themselves out on best player available. You can't do what. And I don't want to hammer him because I do like him, but Gus would, take like 5 running backs in one class and like what are we doing? You're overloading your roster in one area.
He would recruit 4 or 5 positions each class.
Yeah.
We're going to do these 4 or 5 this year, and then next year we're going to do these 4 or 5s, and or at least that's the way it seemed.
Yeah. It did. That was the perception, right? Reality or not, that's the way it felt.
Right. Let's see. Buddy Colt. How many O-line do we sign, and what are your projections as of today? O-line, so you've got Spencer Dowland committed. I mean, are we talking 4 to 5 at the end of the day?
I think 5 to 6.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
So 4 to 5 more.
Yeah, 4 to 5 more. Contingent on who you can get. I
think the 4 we mentioned earlier, y'all mentioned earlier, DeBose, Petty.
Yep, Juan Gaston,
and Dice.
Yeah.
Dice.
You start there, buddy. Glover, yes.
Yeah, start there. Maybe you add a tie buster. Maybe you add a
Mal
Waldrop, something like that, because you do need some interior players in this class as well. They can't all be tackles. So
Keaton Jones, Andrew Babalola.
There you go.
Others.
Yeah.
There's some good guys out there, man. You ought to be able to find 5 to 6 or 4 to 5 more. That and listen, I think that position is going to be huge in June for the summer camps. Yes. Love that. And I love offensive linemen in the summer camp. I love defensive linemen in the summer camp. You can see so much more. I can, at least in person, watching them one-on-ones. I don't know if they're hip flexors or whatever, they're shooting the moon or whatever, but I know whether or not they're good or not. You know what I mean? Like, okay, that guy's really good. All right, I don't know what it is about him, but he's really good. Now Cole can go, he's baby. I'm like, okay, whatever you said, dude. He won. That's all I know. So, all right, 83_Tigers. Any word on players who stand out in winter workouts? Heard some buzz. We've mentioned a couple of names in the past. Continue to hear great things about Bryce Kane.
Yeah, his name always comes up.
Bryce Kane.
Of course, it's been real quiet lately because I think with the way things are. I mean, they're still going through workouts. Don't worry about that. But now I think at this point, you're 3 weeks into the winter workouts? Is it 3.5, whatever it is?
Yeah.
The ones who were struggling maybe in the first week are now starting to catch up with the ones who were standing out in the first week. And that's exactly how it should be. They're going, all right, we're learning the program now. We're right there with you neck and neck. So probably less buzz from that standpoint of who's standing out. But Bryce Kane was the one that always comes up. Seth Wilford is always coming up. I hear a lot about Jalen Crawford.
Yeah, you mentioned. Yeah,
I think he's doing well. So.
Cam Coleman has come up in my conversations.
Yeah,
and it's not like we talk to guys who have the entire roster and go, no, yes. We talk to this guy who knows about this position, and these are the guys that are standing about at the offensive line. And okay, this guy knows about the tight end. So, and we don't have anybody talking to us about the linebackers, or we haven't had a chance to talk to anybody about the D line. So this is not if you don't hear their names, it doesn't mean anything. This is just the guys that we've heard from the limited conversations that we've had.
Let me ask you guys a question, kind of an ad lib off of what that question was. Who is the player you're most interested to see when spring starts? Like, what are they going to be?
Spring, so that takes away.
Wilfred. Seth Wilford. Are you counting transfers too?
Yeah, counting transfers. Like, who are you most interested to see when spring starts?
Sam Jackson.
You just name mine. Like, I don't buy the hype. Like, I've heard people discuss his name and I've seen it on the board, but I am interested.
He's the Hollywood of 2024, right?
Yeah.
I mean, as far as hype goes, remember Shane Hollywood or whatever his name is. What's his name? Hollywood Hooks.
Yeah. Everybody's talking about him. He's going to be a great pickup, all this other stuff.
Nick Mardner was in there. We were probably talking about Nick Mardner.
Right. But I want to see how he was such a dynamic athlete at California when he had the ball in his hand. What does he look like at wide receiver? Like, I'm completely fascinated about when he puts pads on, what's he going to look like? Not running routes on air. Like when he has an opportunity to compete and thud up, what's it going to look like?
I've got 4 guys in the front 7 on defense. I want to see TJ Lindsey.
Yes.
Okay.
I want to see Amaris Williams. I want to see Joe Phillips, and I want to see DJ Barber. And you could probably throw in Riddick in there as well. Like, I'm excited about this front 7, these young guys.
I agree.
I think that's it.
Zach,
I mean, I think
Zach says Cam Coleman, of course.
Okay.
Needs to be ready to play day 1.
Yeah, you got to see him. Don't you know? Everybody's going to be huddled around him wherever he's at. Like, man.
I tell you what, the person I've heard the most about is just being a leader, stud, game changer. I can't even say it with a straight face. Peyton Thorne. I'm just messing with our people now. If his dad's listening or something, I don't know. I love Peyton Thorne, dude. I'm just making a joke.
I thought you were going to say Dylan Gentry.
Oh,
look in the chat.
Hey. Go call this shit. Oh, Dylan's my boy now. Dylan's my boy. I will say this, man. I know for a fact him, Cam, Bryce, and Walker White are throwing at midnight on some nights,
which is awesome.
That dude, I'm telling you that I know y'all can make fun of him and stuff, and I get my shot in here or there, but Dylan's my boy. I like his folks. I like him. He's a good dude. Really like him. And listen, I don't expect him to make a big impact at Auburn, but I would not be surprised if 3 or 4 years from now finishes the year with 15 catches for 200 yards and a touchdown.
It would not be the first walk-on wide receiver at Auburn to make an impact. You know, we've got a nice history of those guys.
He's a ball player. Like, don't get me wrong. If him and Cam Coleman's not best friends, he's not at Auburn. He might be at Alabama A&M or HBCU or a Troy. I don't know if he's Troy good, but he's a good ball player. He's not just a token Cam Coleman guy, although he is, but he's at least a legitimate athlete.
I agree 100%.
Yeah, but you are if you're playing and starting and catching passes and touchdown passes at Central, you're doing something
right. He put up some numbers with Dalen Upshaw on one side and Cam Coleman on the other. He put up some numbers.
Correct. I mean, he was up over 500 yards receiving this past year as a high school.
We didn't mention him, but obviously Walker White. Everybody's going to want to see him.
Damn right, Cole. Absolutely.
But you know, I'll throw one out of left field. I really want to see Rico Walker. I just think that guy has the look. And, you know, tight end is not that position that gets everybody all excited, but it should be. I don't know if you just watched the Super Bowl, but tight end's a big part of both of those offenses.
Damn right.
It's starting to become more of offenses in college too. So I think Rico Walker's that hybrid guy that's a lot like Rivaldo Fairweather. I think can make a somewhat similar impact in that way. So I like him. I want to see what he's going to do.
Zach, you're correct. He said Dylan Gentry or an All-American at North Alabama. Absolutely.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely. Let's see. Oh, Hollywood. The offensive line appears to be as deep and talented as we've had in a few years. That's very accurate. It's not saying much, but it's still very accurate. What's needed to put the D-line at the same level, and can that happen by August? Cole says load up, big dog.
Yeah.
What does the portal provide? That's the question. You know, you are subject to what the portal provides. If it's me, I feel like you need a nose guard. Like that is the biggest thing in probably DJ Durkin's defense right now. If we're going to run some 3-man front, if we're going to run odd front, I think you need somebody there to compete with Trill Carter and Jason Jones. Like I don't think that's enough with what you've got right now.
I agree.
Second in that is a 3-tech or a 4-eye. I think you could use another one of those that could bring in some interior pressure. But those are the two positions to me, and then obviously the edge position. Like I think 1, 2, 3. Like if I'm naming needs, like that's what you need on the defensive line, in my opinion, is one of each to feel significantly better about the room the way it's currently constructed.
I think in order for it to be better or to get to that level with the offensive line, you need not only do you have to go get someone from the transfer portal. Gage Keys and Trill Carter are good, but they may not be around very long. I think you need a young guy to help build in that room because unless if you don't, you're just going to start over again.
So you're saying like a Dylan Sindo?
Yeah, somebody younger. Tomiwa, the guy from West Virginia, was a good candidate for that. He was a younger guy, had 2 or 3 years left. They didn't get him.
Saying.
They need a guy like that who's
a younger guy with a little bit of experience.
Yeah, who's already talented, can play, but actually, stays with you and helps you keep building, because you don't want to just reset everything next year and then it's your 3 guys you got from the high school class. They may not be fully ready to take on 50 snaps a game. So that's I think you have a chance to do that in this spring window or the after spring window.
Let's see. Tropum. It's not actually T or it might be a capital O or a 0. We'll go with Tropum. Tropum. Ropum. All right. What does a typical day of winter workout? This is a good question, man. I'm curious if you guys know this because I don't. Yeah. What does a typical day, Cole, of winter workouts look like, and what do these kids normally rack up in the calorie department? Is each position group training differently?
Well, if it's anything like when I was in college, we had to sign in for meals. If you missed a meal, you'd end up pushing the plate, which was the punishment. Put the 45-pound plate flat on the ground. You got to push it around all day.
It makes my back hurt just thinking about it.
I'm talking about missing lunch. Hey, you didn't sign in for lunch. You got to push the plate today because they consider that a very important part. And look, Auburn's on a way another level than what we were doing. Okay.
Are we talking sunrise workouts and training? Are we talking like an all-day deal?
Winter's more so. You're going to get into that in the spring.
I guess you got to go to class.
So here's the thing. If you've seen the schedule, you got 3 days of practice in the spring. Okay. The other 2 days, they ain't just chilling. They're going to have what's called like a mat room or mat drills or something like that, where it's the most intense, hellacious workout you could ever imagine. It's much worse than what they're doing here for winter workouts. Some of these guys that feel like they're starting to get the hang of it, they're going to get knocked right back down again. That's how that goes. Winter workouts is to get you ready for that.
Yeah. And I think winter workouts, as far as class schedule goes, Jeffrey, that's going to kind of rotate what group you're in, whether you're going to be morning, whether you're going to be in the afternoon. They're going to kind of balance around that. They're also going to kind of group you together by your position grouping. So you're going to have, line of scrimmage guys. You're going to have mid-skill. And so mid-skills, like your tight ends and linebackers. And then you're going to have your skill spots. They're going to be working out together. And then as far as like training table, each player is going to be set up. Like you're going to have met with your position coach and then obviously the strength staff and the nutritionist, and you're going to have your own individual weight plan of what you're supposed to consume from a caloric intake standpoint each day. And then kind of a meal structured stand base of like, hey, these are the kind of things we need you to eat, to be able to add the right weight. So it's going to be very structured. Each player is going to have their own plan. It's not going to be like, do you remember back in the day in high school when you're like your strength coach and or your head coach is like, hey, weight gain 2,000 every meal, peanut butter and jelly sandwich, eat 3 meals a day. Like, you know what I mean? It's the same generic weight plan for everybody.
The reason I have blood pressure problems now, is that what you're talking
about? There you go. Right.
The whey protein and all this stuff.
Oh, the Joe Weider whey protein. I can still taste the grain right now.
All right, this is a good one to go out on. Don Draper, depth chart prediction post-spring. Don't even have to go too deep. Maybe just the starters. Prediction post-spring. Pre-spring, because post-spring is going to be different. We're going to actually get to see these guys. We're going to hear a lot more. There's going to be a lot more tell of the tape, if you will. So let's start at offense.
Let's go quarterback first. Peyton Thorne. Yeah, to me, it's Peyton Thorne.
Peyton Jarquez.
Yeah, Jarquez Hunter, definitely starting running back. Starting tight ends, Rivaldo Fairweather, Luke Deal. I don't think there's any question on that. Wide receiver, that's where it gets interesting. What do you guys think there?
Pre-spring, do you – it's going to have a lot to do with winter workouts. What do you think? Like where Cam Coleman walks out the first day is
post-spring.
Okay.
Yeah, but we can't. I mean, I just I don't want to answer post spring right now. Do you? I guess we can.
I do think Cam Coleman's going to start in August.
Right. Let's go post spring. Let's just,
okay.
you know what I mean? Screw it. Let's try here.
All right.
Yeah, just shot in the dark.
Unless something happens. Hell, this is how I see it shaking out right now. No, we'll stay with post spring. All right, because I feel good about Peyton Thorne post spring being the starter at quarterback.
Yeah.
Yep.
Every one of those I just named, I feel good. So wide receiver post spring, Caleb Burton, Robert Lewis, Cam Coleman.
There you go.
Those are my 3 starters.
I'll say Robert Lewis, Jay Fair, Cam Coleman.
Okay.
I wouldn't argue with either one of those 2 choices. I do think no, that's good. That's good. Let's offensive line right to left. Right tackle's going to be too tall.
Yeah, too tall Miller. Right guard, I'm going to go with
Dylan Wade.
I'll go. I was actually going to go Jeremiah Wright and have Dylan Wade at my left guard, but whatever you think, Cole.
Okay. No, either way.
So how about this?
To me, right or left guard, however you decide, it can be. Just depends on what you're trying to do. Sometimes you want a heavier side or something, but whatever. I think left or right for him.
Connor Lou at center.
Yes.
Left tackle is Percy Lewis.
Post spring, yeah, probably.
They could have him bracketed with Tyler Johnson because I think Tyler Johnson really is going to push for that spot.
I hear you.
And then Seth Wilford right behind Too Tall on the other side.
Yeah. I think you're going to have a legitimate competition into fall practice between those 4. I literally think they're going to push each other.
And I tell you, y'all have mentioned this before about subbing in, rotating these tackles.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Percy Lewis being your passing downs guy, and who knows how they rotate, whether they put Tyler Johnson or move Dylan Wade out to tackle and bring in Seth Wilford at guard, or I don't know. I'm just saying, there's going to be a lot of if that's what they're going to do. But they brought Percy Lewis in to play left tackle. Let's be honest here.
Yeah. I would think that he would have to have a really bad spring practice, in my opinion, for him not to probably be number 1 on the depth chart. Now, again, they could have him bracketed to try to continue that competition into fall practice. And I've heard really great things about Tyler Johnson. Obviously, our JUCO All-American Seth Wilford, definitely good things about him. And then probably the one I'm interested in, Jhead Muskrat.
I was thinking about him. Where are you going to find? I think it was Jake Thornton. I was sitting down in the lobby, and he was like, "Man, that he was praising Jhead Muskrat."
The kid played, snaps at right tackle in that LSU game, and you really, he looked like he belonged on the field. I didn't see him and think, "Okay, this is a kid that needs to go down a level." He competed. He competed his ass off in that game. Now, I think he's going to play more on the interior this year, and I think he does have a higher floor than Jeremiah Wright. I believe that to be true. I think the kid's floor is higher than Jeremiah's. I just tend to think if Jeremiah's right and he's healthy, that his ceiling is higher because of the power in his game, specifically on the interior to move guys in the run game. I think you get a little bit more. But I'm going to be interested, man. I think Jhead Muskrat's going to get legitimate snaps, be a swing guy for you that could play tackle, could play guard.
Yeah, I think Clay Whedon, those guys still a year away.
Yeah, Clay's a year away, and I think they'll pair him with the who's the tackle we brought in this year's past class, the high school kid.
Favor Edwin.
Yeah, I think they'll pair them together on the 3rd team at tackle.
It's nice to be talking about the 3rd team and some legitimate prospects.
Yeah, your 3rd team probably includes Favor Edwin and DeAndre Carter.
Yeah.
Sure.
Braden Joyner.
Yeah.
Maybe Tate Johnson.
Maybe Eston Harris.
That's right.
Yeah. Gosh. You know what I mean?
Some names, man.
Dylan
Cinda.
So it's going to be interesting to see how that shakes out. I think you're going to have legitimate competition. And then I guess the nervousness that's going to come after spring is, does anybody think they want to jump in the portal because they're not where they want to be on the depth chart?
Very possible.
And I promise you, Hugh Freeze doesn't want me sitting on a podcast pontificating about where they are on the depth chart. He's just trying to keep them in the fold, man.
Yeah, right.
This is going to be fun. Again, spring practice kicks off February 27th. They're going to go 3 straight days to get things started off. February 27th, 28th, 29th. And then they'll take a few weeks off. They'll take almost 2 weeks off. Am I looking at that right? Yeah, February 27th. Then they'll kick back March the 12th. That's spring break. So they're going to get 3 practices in before spring break, and then they're going to come back and continue, pick back up March the 12th. And then the A-Day game will conclude the spring practices on Saturday, April the 6th. All right, let's get to some how about yous. How about yous? I've got 6.
Okay.
I've been trying to keep mine at 3, but I actually have 5 this week.
I had it at 3, and it grew throughout the show.
It was the most handsome mod thread got one for me, or 2.
Oh
actually.
yeah, me too.
So,
go ahead,
Coochie, because I'm not even going to say what Coochie's comment was, but he knows why. I told him this is your how about you. We'll go ahead and decide that now. So he gets that. It was hilarious. In my favorite female country singer thread, one of the very first comments was Keith Urban, and I thought that was hilarious. And that was Danny Archer.
Oh, Danny
Archer. And then Warcher, Warcher, had that awesome post. He was one of the cameramen at the Super Bowl. Did you see that?
W. Archer. Hey,
W. Archer, yeah.
Times 2, big dog. He was on my list. One of our very own W. Archer is the man behind the camera, Jhead.
Yeah, was one of the
man who filmed the Pfizer guy. What's his name?
The
Kelsey.
Yeah,
Kelsey bumping Andy Reid.
Get out of here.
That was filmed by the Corner's own W. Archer.
That is wild. And he put a picture in there too, like picture for proof.
Yeah.
Here it is.
Like, here we go. So how about you, big dog, Danny Archer? So we had Danny Archer and W. Archer, right?
If I call it Warcher because he's like a watcher, because he's, I'm saying it's Southern. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's W. Archer. Maybe his name maybe his last name's Archer.
That's on my dad. You wash him clothes yet?
Yeah, you wash rag. You got your wash rag.
Got your wash rag. White folks don't use wash clothes.
Little Washington, baby.
Yeah. All right, Warcher. Or yeah. Times 2, big dog.
I made another post about a show that I'm watching right now, True Detective Night Country. It's pretty good, man. The Don Juan jumped in there and gave me a little Easter egg that I had no idea connects all the way back to the first season. So that was awesome. Oh. And then Jay Bird 5710 told me his favorite show is Lost, which is my favorite show of all time. So there you go.
5710.
Listen,
Jay Bird, that's Bird with a Y.
That first season of True Detective, some of the all-time great television, man. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson.
Yes.
And by the way, they still produce the show, apparently. They're not in it anymore, but apparently they're still the producers of the new seasons. So
let's see. All right, Jhead, who you got, big dog?
All right, so in that same thread on the most handsome mod thread, I think it's Valentine's Day. Let's get into this. Coochie Rabbit put that up. But the Millwood said, I'm gonna need some ankle pics to make my decision. That was classic.
Yeah, it was.
Hey, Millwood, you haven't even taken me out on the date yet. Chill out.
Coochie Rabbit for his same post in that saying, man, this thread is gonna have 3 guys in their fields and 1 guy feeling weird AF after this is all done.
I must have been getting an MRI, dude. I'm gonna have to go back and find this thread.
I gotta tell y'all what Coochie said about me in that thread. It kills me, dude.
Oh, I know. And then finally for Whistle Britches for the picture of Andrew Bone saying that's his vote. Love you, Andrew Bone, but that had me rolling, my man. And then finally, how about you to Toby Keith and his family? Lost a good one, man. That's tough for me. Red Solo Cup, special place in my heart. Obviously, not as good as I once was. A lot of really good Toby Keith.
So many. What a catalog that guy had.
Let's see. I've got to. How about you to Trash Panda?
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Oh man, I wish I could find it. I need to start being better at this. I mean, it's one thing to. Oh, I got you, big dog. Oh, here we are. This is perfect. This is perfect. I got all my Trash Panda. So y'all remember somebody posted these two Tennessee guys talking about Rodney Garner and
yes,
and Trash Panda. The one guy on the right, I thought it was like what's the guy's name? Who goes psh, psh. Well, look at that. Would you look at that? Bassmaster, Ed Bassmaster, or yeah,
hilarious.
And Trash Panda
Chip Diamond. Chip Diamond is that character.
Chip Diamond. He called him the Amish guy. That guy looked like the Amish guy. So how about you, the Trash Panda? How about you to Shell Island after the Super Bowl? He posted game blouses. That's quality entertainment right there.
Yeah, it is. That's Chappelle show at its best, baby.
Let's see. Oh, I had Archer. I want to say W Archer, Cole, because he's got the A capitalized.
I think you're right.
His name is like Wesley Archer or William Archer.
Something
how many? Wes, Will, Wayman,
Wayne.
The other W's. Wayne,
Wyatt, William,
Wyatt, Winsong. Okay, this is hilarious. How about you, the Tecmo 34? Who I somebody posted Alicia Keys, and I was like, man, solid 6. And he goes on 3 rating.
I knew what you were about to say too, dude. I died when I saw that one.
Oh, shit. That is hilarious. How about you? How about you to Zach McInnell? Zach in the back. Zach McKinnell, man. The Maurice, what was his name? Maurice
Harris scoop.
Maurice Harris. Good job, Zach in the back. Appreciate you, big dog, breaking that scoop.
Make that
times two. And then listen, how about you to Alicia Keys? Listen. And here's why. There's nothing wrong with being a solid 6, darling. And I mean, these guys were freaking out. Coochie was talking about drinking her bath water, her toilet bowl water after a night of Mexican or something. And I'm going, dude, like, what do you think she is if she's not a solid 6? That's not a bad. She to me, she's a solid 6. Like, have you seen Rihanna? Have you seen Beyonce? Like, they're at least 3 points hotter than Alicia Keys. So if Alicia Keys, I mean, if they're 9s, because there's no such thing as a 10. If they're 9s, where do you think Alicia Keys ranks? She's a solid 6, big dog.
Right. I mean, if you got a 20-point scale, okay, you can go up. You know what I mean?
So how about all those dudes who think Alicia Keys is more than I mean, and Cole, we were listen. I think the NFL, talking about the halftime show, Cole's a big music guy. I'm not. But I know good stuff when I see it. They had all these women watching because of Taylor Swift.
Oh, like, yeah.
A bunch of dudes, a bunch of grown-ass men don't give a shit about Usher.
No,
right? Never have. Usher has been the ladies' man since the 1990s. So you got all these women watching Taylor Swift now, the NFL, and you're showing her pounding a beer and Ice Spice over there doing her satanic symbolism. Y'all see that?
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah. Upside down cross and the devil horns. Oh, God bless her soul. So you've got all these women watching. Well, you want to give them something they want, because I'm sitting there going, now Jessica was loving it.
Oh yeah, she's over there, piece up, 8
down. Oh
down.
yeah,
you know what I mean?
8 down.
And I'm going, well, this is I'm not so
we agreed. We agreed though, Jeffrey. When they brought Lil Jon and Ludacris out, I got
turn up, son.
Yeah,
turn up.
Little John and the East Side Boys, baby.
But Jermaine Dupri, I was laughing my ass off at that dude. What are you doing on there? Get off. Something here ain't like the others, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, right.
Anyways, I know he's a producer, but still. All right. Hey, I tell you what, we're going to be back. Call-in show Sunday night, 6:30, right here on the Auburn Live YouTube page. We're going to have a POW, personal question of the week question. Silent Q. Thanks to Emily.
Yes. Yeah. Great question.
thanks to Miss Pinkston. I want everybody to think about, because I've got a pack of Oreos, and I was like, man, how do I eat these?
There's a lot of different ways. I never really thought of it,
and I've already eaten it 3 times. Oh, I've got at least 3, and it depends on my milk situation. It depends on what I mean. There's a lot of different things. So everybody think about how you eat an Oreo best. How best to eat your Oreo? What's your best way? And then also, I want to the betting line for Auburn's over under wins this year came out this past week, and it's set at 7.5. So we'll talk about whether you think Auburn will be over under. We're going to talk about what you think about the Oreo, the best way to eat an Oreo, and we'll have a great show.
I think Vegas hit that on the mark.
Man, they made it tough, didn't they?
They do, man.
Dang. And it was 6.5 last year.
Yeah.
And 7.5 this year. So they're expecting at least one game better, one win better. So let's talk about that Sunday night. We got a lot to talk about, man. And so might be a dead period, but a lot still going on. And we'll hope to learn it all and talk about it all with all of you, man. Check back Sunday night, 6:30 on the Auburn Live YouTube page. You're on it right now. If you haven't already, subscribe to it. Hit that like button. Hit the notifications so that when we do go live, you'll know in case you have forgotten. One more time, if you're in Auburn, Opelika, if you're wanting to move to Auburn, Opelika from out of town, it's a fantastic time to do it. I'm not kidding you. Interest rates might be up, but the prices are down. And when the interest rates come down, the prices are going to go up. So it's going to squash. Get it now at a low price, refinance later when it comes down. Give her a call, man. She will help all of you. Her name is Jessica Andrews. She's with the Talents Group. She's a 5-star realtor. Give her a call, 334-704-4442, and please tell her we sent you. That's going to do it, folks. Thank you all so much for listening. Thanks for watching. We appreciate everybody. Please look for Sunday night for Jhead, for Cole, for Zach in the back, who did not come to the front. Y'all stay in that left lane. See you.